All right, welcome to the As Yet Unnamed podcast. I'm your host, Loren O'Brien. Over here to my right, or left, you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm Ron.
You got a last name, or is it just
Yeah,
Ron?
my last name's Baca.
Yeah.
Yep, thanks, Loren.
And go ahead.
I'm Sean Hill. I
And
think that's it.
Sam?
Yeah, my name's Sam Mitchell. I live in Hayfork with Lauren.
Well, we don't live together.
No.
Not yet.
Not
If
yet.
you like it, then you should have put a ring on it.
I mean, I tried, but she said no.
Yeah, well, I don't have a retort for that.
No one ever does.
Just a little introduction. We've been friends for quite a few years now, and we're in a band, Merit Parcel, and essentially what you're going to be hearing is just conversations that we've had that are honestly way too funny that we're we thought to ourselves, should we put this in a TV show? Should we put this in a comic strip, music video, or something like that? So
What
for
the
now,
budget said.
yeah, the budget said podcast. I'd also like to highlight Sean. As I said, we're in Merit Parcel, and Sean, we're here at Fourth Corner Studios, and he's being just polite enough to let us do our thing, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I think the first thing we should address is we've got some pretty good ideas for the podcast name, and I think we should kind of continue figuring that out.
Well,
So
my
we're-
vote's still going to be for the black
The one that-
sheep and
the one that
bad
you
apple.
said.
Yeah, well, the one I came up with, yeah. Well, I mean, we came up with, really. You
Oh,
said
yeah.
bad apple something, or I
Yeah.
don't remember what the...
No, it was
And
just,
it was, but-
just honestly, I wanted the podcast to be called
real think tank shit.
Yeah, I wanted the podcast to be called
Wait,
with
would
friends
that
like
be the name? Real
Okay.
Think Tank?
I mean, that could be... I mean, seriously, we're going to come up with at least one good idea over
Yeah,
for this
definitely.
podcast. So.
And I wanted to name it with friends like these because I hate all of you guys, and there's quite a lot of ribbing that we do.
We hate you, too.
Yeah, but then I found out last night, because I'm a very poor podcaster, very bad researcher, I found out last night in preparation for this that with friends like these, it's already a title taken by a political commentary person, I don't know. And so yeah, the reason I was just like, you know what, let's go with bad apples for now. We're all pieces of shit. And none of us really have that redeeming of qualities, so.
What do you think it should be called, Ron?
Oh, dude, yeah, I think you made a good point about us ribbing each other already. It was like, why not gentle ribbing? It's like ribbed for their pleasure.
Ooh,
Oh, shit.
I really like that,
It's
actually.
got a deeply sexual connotation.
Well,
Maybe what we should do is
Hey,
throw like
Chihuahua.
a listener thing out there, and maybe at the end of this podcast, if you got a good name and you shoot it our way, we can
yeah, well,
think about it and see, because who knows how this podcast is even going to go this time.
Yeah, yeah.
It might dictate the name by the time we stop recording it.
exactly. And for the record, it's also a rough draft. Like, if you guys are hearing this in the future, we've obviously decided to make this into an episode. But yeah, right now we're actually just testing sound equipment, and maybe if it does go well enough, we should publish it and give any listeners who we happen to rake in, give them the opportunity to email us about what they think it should be called, and would you call it the shit show think take or something like that?
Well, I don't even remember at this point.
At least we have it recorded so we can listen to it later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Bad Apples was my tentative idea for it.
Oh, some
because,
think tank shit.
yeah, some think tank shit. That's what it is. And then Sam came up with the idea. What was it?
Black sheep.
Black
yeah.
sheep.
Yeah.
And Black
Well,
sheep
that's
and
what
bad apples.
I am the black sheep.
Yeah, black
so.
sheep and bad apples.
So's Sean. So's Ron.
Yeah.
You're the only goody two shoes in the group.
Wait, I'm a goody two shoe?
Yeah, kind of compared to us, I think you are.
By what standard are we measuring?
In like a soy boy cuck type of thing.
Oh wow. And the offensive.
Here we go. This is
The offensive statements start.
diving right
All those
into
fucking soy boys out there are gonna get sued.
Oh, no. Soy
We're
boy
already
beta cuck.
sued by soy boys and cucks.
Either that or incels are gonna like hear that and just like flock to the podcast and be
Oh,
like,
geez.
these guys, they represent what we think. We hate women too. And we're just gonna have like,
If you're an incel and you're listening to our pilot episode, just know we think you're fucking idiots.
you're a piece of shit,
You're-
idiot,
you're
asshole.
Just, take a nap forever or some shit. I don't care.
Or refine the way you view the world. Your
Learn something
viewpoint.
new. Yeah, that's cool.
Like read
Grow.
a book. Read a book. Like,
Grow.
yeah.
Have a fucking opus.
try to be
or
compassionate.
go to bed forever. One or the other.
Or, it's your pick, really. Yeah.
But do without the hate, though.
Yeah.
Soy boy.
Soy boy.
I don't even know what to say about that.
And it's soy spelled SOI, and then boy spelled BOI. So it's just really just terrible.
That's the podcast name, Soy Boys.
I'm leaving.
With 3 Z's.
Would that be
Wow.
Add the door exiting sound.
Right.
would that be like the opposite of a Chad?
The opposite of a Chad. Yeah. No, well, the opposite of a Chad would be an incel. A soy boy. Actually, I don't really know where that would if there's a spectrum where it's like a Chad and
fish.
I don't know. I don't know.
Sure it is.
I'm not a pescatologist, whatever they're.
Nice. Is that right too?
Yeah, I want to say
Google
it is.
time.
Google time.
Oh, missed.
And so
Phone call from Pops.
And so just to give you guys a little
Sorry,
bit
Dad.
more context, again, we're in the Band Merit Parcel. We tried to set up a half an hour before practice, so you're probably going to hear the band members come in. And we're going to try to make it an elegant close to what may be our first episode, but I can't promise you it won't be just abrupt. Yeah, and in regards to Soy Boys,
I see that going down tragically.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I don't want to be referred to as soy boy. Like we got famous and now
we have
soy
shirts
boys.
that say Soy Boys.
No,
Hey, yo, it's the Cuck Dudes. It's the
it's
Soy
like-
Boy Cuck Dudes.
Nah, yeah, like
It's Soy Boy and the Beta Cucks.
Dude, new podcast.
that's a different podcast where our voices are
We need
changed.
Yeah, we need like a voice modulator.
It's a shad, not a chad. The fish.
So what's the name for somebody who studies fish then?
Oh,
Because I thought that's what
let's
you were
let
looking up.
Google answer for us. Someone who studies fish.
Mm-hmm.
Too slow, Google. I don't like it.
Ichthyologist?
Ichthyologist. Here's a
Ichthyologist.
summary from
Fuck
water
you,
gremlin.
bitch.
Thank you,
Shut it off.
Google.
Studies fish for a living is an ichthyologist. A gremlin is a depthologist. A person who studies fish for a
gremlin?
living is an ichthyologist.
Wait, is that because they got wet
Wait,
after midnight? Is that what?
Why
how
are
do
you
you make
gremlin?
Gremlin who makes sinkers for a living is a depthologist.
A gremlin who?
A gremlin who
what the fuck?
Wait,
Does that say what a gremlin is?
so many questions.
So would a mogwai
What
study
is a
land
gremlin?
creatures?
Well, it's gonna give you obviously the definition for a gremlin. It's really bad
What?
to have silence in a podcast.
Wait.
Here's the
I mean-
definition of gremlin.
No,
Informal.
no,
An imaginary
no. How about
mischievous
formal?
sprite
Yeah,
regarding-
no, but you said it here.
I'm really glad this
So
is
an
going as
imaginary-
well as I thought.
All right. So further research. We'll come back to the gremlin.
We'll touch on that next episode.
I like the educational moment we had there.
Yeah, I mean,
A little touch of
Learning.
learning.
that's
that
been the
gonna
hardest. I've been excited about this podcast.
Call me the professor.
I've been excited about this podcast for. Nobody's going to call you the professor. I mean, you profess.
Eventually,
you proselytize a lot, but nobody's going to call you the professor.
I think I profess as much as I proselytize.
Dude, you could start a whole segment with the word of the day, and then we'll start calling you the professor, baby.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that'll be your
I
role.
don't know
Here's the word of the
I
day
think
with
you're-
dictate.
Are we going to have you on the show every?
how that dictate.
I think it would have a different direction with
More
that.
crickets.
More crickets.
So, should we come up with a topic to discuss, or
Well, I mean, again, it's kind of more of a
What's
informal
your?
first episode. Well, the idea is what's the podcast going to be about? What are we
I'm
doing?
sure you got a topic.
Yeah, well,
Throw a topic.
I mean,
I have
you know,
a topic.
let's
Let's do it,
let's
topic
address
time.
it. Let's address it.
Topic
time.
Topic time. No, if this is our first episode, though, we should make people aware that we're actually recording this on September 11th.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if you
Wow.
know. So if this is as big
Right.
of a disaster as we think, they kind of follow suit.
ooh,
Are we being un-American? by
too soon?
Dude.
Nah,
It's been 18 years. She's legal.
I'm just wow,
Damn.
wow.
Maybe we'll edit that
I
out.
have no comment. I have no comment.
Brings a whole new meaning to inside job.
Oh,
no.
I don't know that it did, but nice.
Now, I mean, I see what he's so.
Let's not get assassinated on our first podcast.
All right, so where were you, Loren, when it all 9/11 happened?
First of all, I want to answer that.
8?
I want to answer that. But first of all, you're gonna hear an occasional ting ting ting. It's because these motherfuckers are eating pitted olives or unpitted. I'm not sure.
Unpitted, man.
Unpitted. They've
Olives
got
with
the pits in
with
them.
Pits in them are better.
So you're gonna keep
Superior
hearing
by far.
ding, ding, ding over the course of the podcast, and I'm
What
sorry
the fuck
about
else
that.
are we gonna
but-
use a spittoon for?
Fair enough. Anyway, I was actually getting ready to go to a real place. It's called Bumpus Hell. It's in Lassen National Park, and it's a sulfur pit. And for like months, we'd been getting ready to go to this for a part of, I think it was geology class or something like that. And I was in 6th grade, and I got up that first morning, and my mom was crying on the couch, and I walked out, and I was like, "What's going on, Mom?" And she was like, "These planes at this fucking building," and I'm 11, so I'm like, whatever. I don't give a fuck about it. This is impertinent to me. And later I got to school and everybody was freaking out about it, and I was like, man, this must be a bigger thing than I think. And the teachers for like 20 minutes were like, should we go? Because it's like 50 miles away from a military base, which might be unverified. I don't actually know how close it is to a military base. And then they were just like, fuck it, we're going. So I ended up having a great September 11th, unfortunately. We went up and did this school field trip that I was excited about. Spent all day out in the middle of the woods. It was a good time.
Wow. Did we just learn that you're a sociopath?
Well, we'll delve more into that in future
Better
episodes.
things that could have happened on the day, like Bright Sunny Parks and.
Yeah, but no, let's go around the circle then. Let's go around the circle. Ron, where were you when September 11th, the world?
Dude, I can tell you right now, we didn't get no fancy field trip, bro. If I can, you know.
Yeah, you're older than Ron, right?
Yeah, by like a
2
year or
years?
two. Yeah.
I'm 29. You're 27.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 years.
Yeah,
give
so
or take.
if you were 11,
He's 9.
math. Yeah, then it didn't change.
Wow. Wait, you were
anything.
9 and you were 11.
Wait, that's not math. Wait, that's math.
Wait.
Whoa, dude! It just clicked! Holy shit!
You can't see this because there's no camera right on me, but I'm putting a triangle over my eye.
Dude, it's a
Oh,
conspiracy.
shit. You guys better start making conspiracy theories about us if you're
Yep.
listening.
So
So where were you though? What were you doing?
Dude, school.
Synchronicity.
It's just
Like,
regular-
it was just a sob story. I think fucking ultimately we just like all met up in the gym and watched some weird film about bullying, oddly.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Don't bully other countries, America.
I don't know what like the reference was for it, or if they had it planned
It
already.
was probably just a distraction
I'm not sure. They're like,
tactic.
well, shit. This is the only video we have to play, you guys. Sorry, huddle around this little freaking TV with a VHS.
Oh, was it like the whole school and like the auditorium or the gymnasium in my case?
Yeah.
And it was just like a tiny little shitty TV where you guys had to look 100 people in front of you to try to watch this.
Well-
this TV screen you couldn't really see.
It like we had like a middle school thing, so it wasn't like a bunch of people, you know.
Just 3 grades.
Yeah, but like
in McKinleyville, so what's that, like 80 people a grade or something? 12? Oh no, that's A4.
I don't remember
definitely-
being like surrounded by a ton of people, but maybe everybody got fucking checked out because of like terrorism shit. I don't know.
I remember a lot of parents held their kids back from school that day, like the Bumpus Hell trip that we were on. There was like
A lot of fear.
I want to say like 65 people that were supposed to go, and maybe 40 went.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's the biggest disaster in my fucking life that I can remember.
Dude, how cool would it be though if one of us were in that room while Bush was reading that children's book?
Upside
And what
down.
if they were in that class,
yeah.
right?
Upside down.
I forgot about that.
Dude.
Upside down. Didn't even bat an eye.
Was that like a verifiable photo, or is it just like, well,
I mean,
like he picked
dude,
up the
wasn't
book
in
and
the
opened it, and somebody took a photo, and then he was like, they took the photo, and it just looks bad because he flipped it over and started the story.
Well, look. It's on. Where have you seen it? On the internet. Like, what the fuck? I trust exactly none of the photos that I see on the internet at
Yeah.
this point, right? Like, that shit is too easy to fucking fake.
Now they got deep fake technology too. That shit's weird.
Whoa.
Deep fake, no, yeah, they
Technical
can.
term?
Yeah, it is a technical
Are you
term. And
moving
what they do is
triangle over your eyes again?
they put these like things on your like motion capture, I think is what they call motion capture beads on your face essentially, but they do it digitally now. And what happens is you can motion capture another person's face, and then in this example you can have Obama on a screen, and if you were motion capturing my face, everything that I would be saying would come out of Obama's mouth. He'd be turning his head. He'd be like looking like a normal person, so you
okay,
could
I've seen
fake
that.
this kind of stuff. Sean, where were you?
Let's get into the adults.
Yeah.
To the grown-ups
I
at this
was
time.
in-
How old were you?
Oh.
He's got to do the math.
How old are you now? Minus 18.
Yeah, I'm 34 minus 18.
Fuck, I'm terrible at math. I don't know why I told you to do that.
Yeah.
16? We'll call it 16.
So I was a sophomore or a junior, I think sophomore.
Hmm.
And I just remember going, I had shop
Alright.
class.
Yeah, sure.
I might have been a junior. I can't remember. I just remember it was high school. I got up in the morning and on the news, mom and dad had the news on, and it was like, oh, crazy shit in New York. And I was just like, whatever.
Yeah, that's
And then I
across
went
the
to
country
school,
for me.
and it was like, I'm trying to remember what movie it is, that scene in that movie where they would like wheel in the TV on the stand, and they start playing it because shit's going down, and the kids are all sitting there like, oh fuck. It's like maybe
shit.
it's,
JFK.
or maybe Pearl
Something like
Harbor
that.
or something like that.
Yeah, movie
Yeah.
about one of those two events.
Yeah, where it's
Yeah.
like a really intense scene where they turn the TV on and stuff, and it's like on the cart, and all the kids are like, fuck, we might get drafted, or
Yeah.
all this type of stuff. That was like what happened when I got to school. They were like, yo kids,
Oh,
some
you're
real
thinking
shit's
of
going.
Red Dawn.
Some real shit's
I'm pretty
going.
sure.
It might be that, yeah.
Swayze, bro. You
They're
can't
just
throw on the
Swayze.
They're
Swayze.
just like those
Young Swayze.
That some real shit's going down, and they like. I remember the teacher grabbed the cart with the TV on it that hadn't been used in, I don't know, 15 years
Yeah,
or
you
something
had to
like
wipe the
that. Like,
dust
why
off
they
it.
still have it with the VCR?
Because they needed one for every room or
The
some shit.
VCR still sitting there that hasn't been used in forever and all this shit, and they were like, plug it in and turn on the clicker, and it was just like, then we sat there and watched the towers actually, like, when they were hit.
Oh, you watched them fall?
Yeah, like live on, because it was
Oh.
live on the TV.
Yeah.
This was like national emergency shit. So we're all sitting in school, and it's like well, we got school today, but there's also this crazy shit going on that's a bit more of a
This trumps,
national.
this trumps like math class.
Yeah, it was kind of like, yo.
Yeah.
Like,
Trump's math class?
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Well,
I
no,
can't
they-
even
what-
use the
what-
word Trump.
What they were probably doing was they were probably like, this is history happening right here.
Yeah.
Let's all pay attention to it and be able to participate.
Well, and it was kind of like put on right in the morning, and then as soon as they put it on, it was like then the towers got hit, and it was like, oh,
Got
this might
hit
be
or
like we're
fell?
going to war today and stuff, and it was like well, let's just sit back for the the day
Yeah.
and do that thing.
The second tower got hit. Like, nobody turned on the TV before the first tower got hit. So, like,
Are
if
you
you
asking-
saw a plane hit a building, it was the second tower.
Yeah, maybe we saw the second
I
one.
saw
right,
both of
because-
them hit.
On replay. On replay from
Oh, yeah,
one
yeah,
of
yeah.
from somebody's
Just
footage
filming it, yeah.
of
No,
and
it was-
then this plane, I saw that shit. It was like it's I remember that video
Yeah.
of that started replaying like maybe a half an hour after the second tower was hit, and it was like it was either from like a ferry or from Staten Island or something, and somebody was just filming
Yeah.
from their cell phone across the water, and you just see this plane come in and just
Wreck it,
smack into the first tower. Yeah, for sure.
So you just spent the day watching the news happen?
So it was like kind of intermittent class, but if the news report that was on every TV in every classroom, on every cart, on whatever, was like, if there was something that was like, yeah, okay, well, I kind of have to do history class, so flip your pages to, and it'd be like, the second tower just got hit! And then we're like, ah! And it just kind of, it'd pause and everything and go to the TV, and it was like, well, kids, you're at that age, we're all sitting there like, it was kind of weird too, because it was almost like the teachers and everybody was like, the draft's gonna happen.
The what?
The draft's
Oh, the
gonna
draft
happen,
is gonna
type
happen.
of deal. They're gonna reinstitute it now and stuff, and so we're all kind of like, wait, did we just jump back like fucking years here and stuff
Yeah,
like
you
that? We're
need
all
to.
sitting in class and we're like, well, boys, we're going to war today.
Me and Ron are 9 and 11 years old, and we're just like, yeah, that's not going to happen to me. I'm not getting drafted.
Twiddling our thumbs is like fucking lost at that point.
Well, and at the time, I didn't really realize what a big deal it was, and for me, it was just like, because I saw the plane collide into it, my first reaction to it collided into the building, my first reaction was like, that's some really good CG.
Right.
Like I wonder what
Oh,
I wonder
shit.
what they're
It was like a
advertising
movie
right
for
now.
you.
Oh,
Exactly.
no.
Right.
And then it wasn't until like my mom was crying on the couch that I really realized what was going on. And then going to school, everybody was talking about it. It was all over the news. We ended up doing like these little projects of like heroes and who our heroes were, and it was just like this crazy scene where and to say it in so many words, like we were trying to figure out how we can keep strong in this time of crises, which, you know, obviously I was basically untouched by it at 11 years old.
Right.
But yeah, we were trying to like contribute to like the patriotism and keeping morale, I guess is the word for it, keeping morale up. So where were you, Sam? What were you doing? How old were you?
I guess I was 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my birthday's in August.
Mm.
Or 20. Was I 20? No, I was 19. Right?
Bitch,
No,
I don't know
20.
your
I was
age.
20. I was 20.
I know you're old.
Yeah, the old man in the group.
Yep.
I'd been up fucking late partying with my friends the night before. I'd just gotten out of bed. I was making coffee and the phone rang.
About what time? Just for frame of reference.
Man, I really don't know. Like
2
Towards
p.m.
noon?
no.
It was early
No,
then?
no, it was like 9 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess.
And you were in the New York time zone at the time.
I was in New York. I was living at my dad's house, and so I was in the my family kitchen basically alone. Nobody else is in the house. The phone rings a bunch. Like nobody leaves a message, right? Rings a couple times, so I finally pick it up because I figured this is like somebody who knows us
Yeah.
is trying to call.
And they're urgently trying to get a hold of you.
Right. So I'm like, I haven't put the cream in my coffee. I got the coffee in the cup. I pick up the phone. It's my dad. He's got this. Like, I'd never heard that tone in his voice.
It's like, yo, B,
yeah.
get the rifle.
No,
You're like,
he
"Oh,
was
shit."
like, turn on the radio. I'm picking your sister up from school. I will be home in 10 minutes.
To where the house that you're staying in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then hung up the phone.
Oh, so it was like
Because he didn't have a cell
urgent.
phone. Like, he wasn't calling me from a cell phone. He was calling me from, like, his desk phone at work.
Yeah.
And so I was a little like, whoa, that's intense. Like, there was this real urgent, fucking
Palpable.
panicky fear in my dad's voice. So I poured the cream in my coffee and turned on the
Details.
radio. And the first thing I heard, it was already on National Public Radio, right? Like, nobody changes the radio station on the radio at my dad's house. Like, you listen to CDs.
He's a
like,
big
nobody-
NPR fan.
Well, I mean, that's the only thing that's listened to on the radio is like certain NPR
Oh, I see.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I turn on the radio, and the first thing I hear is like Washington is being evacuated, the president has been evacuated, and because I kind of had this Cold War conditioning, I guess, I just immediately made the assumption that like the end was here.
Like this is war.
That very in minutes.
So were you
In
in the
minutes,
city, or
like
were
no,
you?
I grew up on the side of a mountain, like a half an hour or 20 minutes outside of Albany,
Okay.
which is the capital of New York.
Yeah.
And also located near Albany are strategic things. There's Knowles Atomic Laboratories. There's all of like the GE's like some of their biggest production facilities are located in Troy or Schenectady, New York. It's 15 miles away. These are totally targets for like a nuclear conflict.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought was happening. I thought, I was like, oh,
This is it.
inside of some minutes, like there, I'm gonna see bright flashes of light, and then I'm gonna die. And so I grabbed my cigarettes and my coffee, and it was a beautiful day.
Yeah.
It was
I remember that
was
vividly.
the most beautiful day a September could ask for. And I just went out into the lawn, and I sat down in the grass. I took my shirt off. I laid in the grass. I smelled the grass. I smoked my cigarette.
See, I had like,
And I just sat there for like 15 minutes. And my dad didn't show up. and the bombs didn't show up. So I went inside and turned the TV on. And that was the moment that, like, I turned the TV on and the fucking plane went into the second tower. So if that gives you like a time scale.
Yeah,
like,
we can look it up later.
I like watched live the plane just that hitting that second tower.
Yeah, I
so
saw the
somewhere
second,
between the first tower being hit, I started making my cup of coffee. And by the time I was done, like, assuming I was about to be fucking melted by, gamma radiation, that's your time frame.
Yeah.
And then I spent the rest of the day. My dad didn't pick my sister up from school, though he went to the school, and the school was doing something like you guys all experienced, right? I didn't experience what it was. We'd have to ask my sister, what that was
What
like.
the TV show or whatever.
Right, however the school decided to handle it.
So you went to school?
No, I didn't. I stayed at the house. I broke
I'm sorry.
open-
I'm sorry.
My dad went to the school to get my
To get your sister and then-
but then went back to work.
Oh, okay. So he took your sister to work.
No, he left my sister at school.
Oh,
See, that's where it was like different for me. We all watched the TV because like my mom was in the military when that happened.
Oh,
She
that's
retired
right.
from it. So when that happened, it was like, oh shit.
Where was your mom stationed
Mom's
at the time?
probably going to war. Maybe I should pay attention to whether or not she's getting like shipped out
Sent
tomorrow
somewhere,
or next
right.
week.
Was she stationed in
And then-
Washington where you were living?
Well, she was in
Yeah.
the reserves at that point.
Yeah.
Washington State, by the way, not D.C.
Yeah, so she, oh man, when that went down, she left for, I feel like a year or something like that. Mom was just gone doing military stuff, and it was, had to deal with all that shit, and a bunch of other friends too that had like dads and moms in the
What was your
military.
mom's role in the military, and how did that affect the her jobs?
Staff sergeanting, helping, doing things.
Do I remember correctly that your mom was like a medic or a nurse or something
She
for the
started out
military as
that
well?
way, but
Oh,
that was
okay.
a long time ago.
Okay.
My aunt was a nurse
Yeah.
in the Army, which she brought up when we were staying at their house in Roseville after the Sacramento show at Old Ironsides.
Well, for us it was weird too because she got shipped out for Desert Storm during Bush Senior, and then it was like years later, Junior comes in and starts some shit, or obviously shit.
Yeah, because
started.
he started shit. He was like, "Fuck you, Saudis,
yeah.
you guys," or whoever did it. I don't
I'm
fucking
sure,
know.
I'm
There's
sure.
a lot of questions on
There
the
was
internet.
a bad
if you got
deal
more,
that went
just
down with
ask.
some oil
Well,
trade and stuff like that,
right.
and whatever happened, anyways, it was like, and then it was like, oh, we're going back to the Middle East. It was just like,
Dude,
like,
I'm a bitch.
like, Mom, you just love the Middle East? You just
Super
try to hang out there? Is that like what's
Yeah,
going on? Like,
because
this is
especially
bullshit.
during heightened tensions caused by terrorist acts, your mom's like, it'd be a great place to go on vacation in the military, like going through the military to the Middle East. That
They
sounds
got good
relaxing.
I'm
boxes.
honestly-
Kuwait was such a fucking vacation.
Yeah, it was just.
Dude, I'm honestly
So
thinking
your
like,
mom was
listen,
in Iraq in the first Desert Storm?
She was in Germany and a bunch of those places.
So she does like
she
she does like
stuff.
she does like what the heck is that, like acquisition and
She makes sure all the
Make
people
sure
are doing their
they-
fucking job.
Something
well, she makes sure shit gets where it needs to go.
Yeah,
and
she's
some-
logistics.
Logistics,
Yeah.
thank you. Acquisitions and logistics, is that a thing? Who knows?
I mean,
I don't know.
just as a broad term, I use the word logistics. It's
I
like,
have
how
been
does this
drinking
thing
this
that I need get to
Fall
where this
River
is
Brewing
now?
Company.
I'm sure she'll listen to
Widowmaker,
this
double
and then
IPA.
She'll comment on afterwards and be like, "No, I was this. You get it straight."
Get it right. Yeah.
I don't know. She was a
Get it right
badass and did all that
up in
shit. That's
Yeah.
pretty much all that I really remember. It was just
fuck guys, like honestly listening to your stories, I kind of hope that I'm misremembering what fucking happened at school for
the
me.
little baby.
Like has like a fucking
Well, you were 9. You
Well,
were
as a 9-year-old,
you didn't have the prefrontal cortex developed to process
you think they at least
decisions,
fucking
like-
show us the news like they fucking might at some other spots, right?
But I grew up
Instead
watching.
of, like,
I grew up watching
anti-bully
movies like
film.
Red Dawn.
Right? If that, I mean, that's how I remember it. If that wasn't what happened,
I grew up listening to my parents tell stories about what it was like when they would do air raid drills at school.
Well, I remember
Well,
growing
you know-
up when the air raid siren used to go off in town. It was like once or twice a month maybe or something
Just
like
to
that.
make sure it worked.
Yeah, and it just just started
And-
going off,
and-
and you were like, shit, it's going down.
And so I know the Soviet Union disbanded in 1991 or something like that. What?
89?
Yeah,
91,
Yeah, something
somewhere
like
in
that.
there.
So I was
don't
gonna ask.
really-
I was gonna ask.
I mean,
you,
I was 8 to 10 when it happened.
yeah.
When the when the wall came down.
Yeah, so you had like.
But
a
I
damn
remember
near-
seeing that footage like live.
Yeah,
and
so
not
it was
really
a damn near a
understanding
decade
it.
of the Red Scare for you that you still remember. Because to me,
you're very
to me, it all seems very antiquated and very like
I was born during. I was born.
1950s.
Ronald Reagan was the president.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
So not to get too political, but do you see? Because I personally think that there's a little bit of Red Scare still going on, where we're trying to like.
well,
like,
I think that
Russia's-
you. I think that you. No offense, but I think that because of how
Speak
young
your
you are, and because you didn't grow up with that, like, in the background of every facet of the society in which you were growing, you know,
It instilled
Um,
fear.
And on top of that, like when my parents were kids, those attacks were going to be launched by planes. When I was a kid, and those that would take hours, and there could be a fight. You could use other airplanes or rockets and other stuff to shoot the enemy planes
Yeah.
down, and maybe you could stop it. Right? My grandfather worked on the DEW line, which was the radar establishment line.
It's for NORAD, right?
Yeah, for NORAD.
Yeah.
I think it might have predated NORAD or was part of NORAD. But he had something to do with that, and he traveled all over the world. I don't honestly know what. But there was still this idea of like a fight. When I was a kid, everything was like Saturn rockets
Yeah.
that fucking dropped. Each rocket held 20 bombs, and each side had thousands of rockets.
Jesus.
And those things are only going to take like 5 minutes to get here.
Yeah.
So
And these rockets were not ICBMs, but nuclear rockets.
no. I mean, yeah, I'm talking about like basically a Saturn rocket, an ICBM,
Yeah.
intercontinental ballistic missile.
Sorry, I dissociated for a second.
that has, instead of a lunar lander and shit on the nose of it, it's got this fucking nose cone that just holds a bunch of
a warhead.
warheads.
Yeah.
And those warheads can range anywhere from like 5 kilotons to 50 megatons or more. I think probably more. There's less warheads on a rocket, but still,
Yeah.
everybody who had these rockets had enough of them to just kill everything. We all had enough to kill everything, and there was no stopping the rockets. So
So do you? I guess the question that
so
I'm
the
asking.
idea to understand that as a kid, to understand what that means is at a young age, it was terrifying.
Yeah. Well, and I guess
It was terrifying.
I guess what I'm asking now is with the way current American politics are, and not to be too divisive, do you see any of this Red Scare coming back? Because I personally see a little bit of at the very least, demonization of the Russian culture, which doesn't make any fucking sense to me,
Well,
because
look.
Russians and rednecks are very similar. Russians created this kind of shock.
okay.
Well, hear me out.
Look, but
hear me
the
out.
plebes
Hear me
are
out.
always the same.
Yeah. Well, hear me out. Because Russians and rednecks would be best friends if given the opportunity. Simply because Russians created this. I saw a video on it on the internet. They created this shotgun round. It's like a flame throwing shotgun round. I think it's called Dragon's Breath. You'll have to look it
Yeah,
up.
the
if you find
Dragon's
it.
Breath,
Yeah.
red phosphorus shotgun round,
Yeah, and-
destroys your shotgun barrel.
Yeah, but rednecks love shooting guns, and I follow this subreddit called.
I'd like it more if I could use it here, but we just start like the worst forest fire in
Not only
the
would you waste
K-Force
a bunch
history.
of money on one shot, like the most expensive.
They're
part
not
you
that.
get.
No, they're not
No,
that
but you're gonna
expensive.
destroy the
It's a couple
shotgun
dollars.
every time you shoot
No,
Well,
it's not that bad.
I mean,
So
Don't use a rifled barrel. Use
Yeah,
a
exactly,
smooth bore,
exactly.
like,
Fuck.
but yeah, you shoot like 30, 40 through there. Yeah, you're going to start to see some serious pitting on the inside. It's
And then-
phosphorus.
Well,
Yeah,
it-
but then
it burns hotter than the
and then in Northern
vaporizing
California,
temperature
you're gonna
of
shoot it
steel. I'm
once or
pretty
twice
sure.
and just start a forest fire.
I think that's white phosphorus you're thinking about, Sam. Anyway, but so the reason I think rednecks and Russians should get along is because I follow this page on Reddit called A Normal Day in Russia. You guys can look it up. It's amazing. It's honestly the best page.
Is that a
And-
plug?
No, it's not meant to be a plug if it is. I don't think they're selling anything, but sure, we'll call it a
But
plug.
if you hear this,
Widowmaker Double IPA.
Look
from
it up.
Fall
You'll know what
River
I'm
Brewing
talking
Company.
about. So that's a plug. Anyway, and so the most fascinating image I've seen on there is this full blown tank from, I can only assume, like directly after World War II, and it's parked at a drive-through window of a McDonald's in Russia. And I'm like, if rednecks could drive around in tanks, best believe they would. And so back to the root of my
Yeah, but
question.
that's like the Russian military because there's
Well, no,
like
these
zero
these are
fucking.
civilians.
You know what's
as far as I know anyway.
I really
in a
give,
tank.
I really give Russia credit.
He heard
for
this on the
amount
internet.
of like super cool
Yeah, I
shit
did.
like that you can just purchase as a civilian.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was watching tractor, just side little top. I was watching tractor races one day. They're bringing out all these crazy diesels and multiple engines hooked, and they're doing the tractor drag, and then they brought out these jet engine tractors.
Wait, what?
And it wasn't like one; it was like three.
Oh,
jet
I've seen those
engines
where like the
stacked
front compartment,
with these
engine
huge
compartment
tubes
is yeah.
and it's just like they're like whoa, 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 and they drag their thing.
They glide across the mud.
Well, I'm looking at my pops and I'm like, yo, pops. I'm like,
That was fake.
I was like, these are like just some guys with tractors like hopping them up and shit like lawnmowers and stuff. But where do you buy a jet engine from to put on your goddamn tractor? Like who's ordering jet engines online? And he was like, well, let's check it out. And we went on eBay, and it took like 2 seconds to find Russian jet engines decommissioned from.
who's selling those?
Yeah, they're like MiG-14 jet engines.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
super inefficient, you know?
Yeah, so I'm not arguing that you could be right. It could have been a military person driving through McDonald's in a tank. Seems very unprofessional to me, but I don't know what the rest
Yo,
of the army's
I
like.
kind of
But-
feel like it's
but-
super unprofessional. Like if you
But-
play poker with a colonel, you could do whatever the fuck you want kind of scenario.
Yeah. But I'm with Sean where I know a very trivial amount of Russia, so I could be wrong about this. But from what I've read, that all their antiquated and dilapidated military stuff gets actually sold so that they can create a little bit of revenue for themselves. The U.S. Army does that as well. They sell
look
planes
forward
and-
to
Are you
that
fucking
shit.
kidding me? The United States is home to like the most. Like we are the world's biggest arms dealer
I'll let you know.
by
Actually,
far.
I'll let you know now.
Puh.
This is terrible. Coughing, spitting. What kind of professional podcast is this?
It's not,
Dude, I'm
That's-
so glad
that's
that
true.
we stepped away from the soy boy cuck things. Like, we're going full on politics.
We're going like pseudo politics. This is more sociology than it is politics.
Oh.
Well,
We're
no-
just talking about the Russian culture, not their.
See, everybody's
Well,
worried
no.
about Russia, but I'm worried about China.
I'm not.
Did anybody see the Chinese CZ-7 rocket that re-entered the atmosphere over Northern California?
No.
No,
Tell me
Are
more.
you kidding me?
Tell me more. Like, did he have a car?
this was something. I was sitting up on the mountain with Adam. He's sitting there having a beer. I'm sitting there playing my guitar and having a beer. And Adam looks. I just hear him say as I'm playing. He's just like, dude, what the hell is that? And I look over at him, and he's pointing up at the sky. And I look up at the sky, and there's like what looks like an asteroid like entering the atmosphere. The first thought I had was like, oh, that's coming into Earth.
Yeah.
Which I've never had that thought before. And it
Except
was,
for like maybe a shooting star.
like
or
when
something.
I was watching Armageddon. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, that's what a comet or an asteroid looks like re-entering, like or whatever. You know, no,
Which
like,
you know is the title of the movie explains exactly what the movie's about, Armageddon. So you're seeing this thing streak through the sky, and
so
you're like,
I'm
"This
just-
is the
I
end.
was just like,
this
oh.
is the end."
That movie was
that's
so
really like
bullshit.
that's some, and then it hit. It was like a
Great, though.
fireball
Bruce
that just like cruised through the horizon and then fucking broke up and started splitting and shit like that. And Adam and me both ran up to the top of this gazebo. We're watching it, and then we sat there wondering what the fuck was gonna happen because I was like, was that like a nuke? Are we done? Am I gonna see a big mushroom cloud and a bright light coming towards us now?
for the audience listening, we also live in a very, very secluded area of Northern California. You might have heard the name already, Hayford, California. Don't come here, it's a terrible town. And so no, but we're actually protected by a lot of mountains around us. We're like very high up, and so like
This would be an amazing place to go, to be in a nuclear holocaust.
yeah, that's the point that I'm making is that we're very well protected here. But I didn't want to interrupt, so continue.
No, that's what I'm saying is I worry about the Chinese because I looked into it and I was like, there's no way I just saw this. Adam just saw this. we're not that high. I don't, like the beer isn't that great. Drinking PBRs up on the
Yeah, yeah.
mountain, whatever and stuff. So we look it up. Well, I found another video of a bunch of people that were in random places that were like, what the hell is that? And like got their phone out and caught the whole thing, minute-long videos. And it was reported it was a Chinese CZ-7 rocket that
Describe the videos to me. Did it like enter the atmosphere and explode, or?
Well, it was like, it looked like one thing, and then it like was cutting across, and as it like came in, like one big fireball. And that's all I can really explain. It's like, it was like a fireball with flames. Like you could tell, and
Like,
even though it was like up there, you were like, that's a fucking fireball.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. And then it came, and it was cruising, and then it started splitting, and it split into like 3 or 4 pieces,
Okay.
and then just kind of split apart, and
Yeah.
then across as far as you could see until it burned out. And
Yeah, yeah.
I
did its
saw something similar to that when I was in, I guess, how old was I? 18. I had gotten in trouble. I had to do this outdoors program. I was in Utah for 2 months, and as boring as hiking through the desert for 2 months can be, you are not want for like starry nights. Every night is like the best stars you've ever seen. Every shooting star is there. And one night there was this shooting star that it looked like a sparkler flying through the sky, and then it just like broke into like 4 pieces, and like one of them exploded a little bit, and like they all burn out in different directions. And we all kind of just agreed as like a little group that it was space trash of some sort that just like they dropped out of orbit or dropped out of orbit itself. So I got a little bit of fun facts about nuclear weapons, just to
Fun
put
facts.
just to put it in perspective.
This is Sam's.
Sam's fun facts.
Professor Sam's corner
With Sam.
with
Professor
Sam.
So I googled the list of countries with nuclear weapons, and it popped up the top 11. But the
top 11
the
countries
other
with
9
yeah.
don't even really count. The United States, that they'll admit to owning, 6,450
Of course we
warheads.
Of course we
Fucking
admit to owning
Christ.
them. We're the ones that regulate. We're like, yo, you can't have that.
Right.
We're
Right,
like, yo, we invented them.
We
But
have
this
that.
is the ones. This is the ones that they'll talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You know
of
what I mean?
course.
And Russia has 6,490, not to be outdone by the United States. The next biggest, apparently, I'll hit the 8 more rows. No, what does that do? Next biggest was the United Kingdom's with like 215.
Boo.
Yeah,
What are you even
215
gonna do with 215 nukes? Like, really?
total, and so deployed into, so 1,600 total, or 1,600 deployed and 6,450 total. Nobody else. It's just us. Like even China,
Wait, how many do we have?
6,450 warheads.
Nice, yeah.
More than enough.
More than that's every major city on the planet. Twice.
Go around and find out. Just saying.
So and then so just between like United States and Russia, you've got
What is it?
This is
almost
like
13,000
yeah,
13,000
yeah.
warheads that they have.
This is the only reason we have a problem with Russia. It's just like, no, you like, who's the better poker player? You're like, I got more warheads.
No, it's a
warheads.
dick.
You got
it's-
more warheads.
It's a dick measuring contest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, the good thing about this news is that if there ever becomes an like the movie Armageddon type situation, we've got enough nukes to, if we can't push it out of orbit or push it out of its trajectory, we can at least blow the fucking thing up to a bunch of tinier, smaller chunks. Which actually I've been interested. Like I wanna. If any of you guys know about the science behind nukes in space, I would love for you guys to
Science!
email us or comment on our thing or something like that, and just let us know about what the science is behind nukes in space.
A rough guess that if you launch a shit ton of nuclear weapons at some asteroid barreling down at the Earth, like some planet killer sized asteroid.
We all watched
That-
the movie. You gotta land on it. You gotta drill
no,
down
no,
way
no.
deep with
Okay,
a special
yeah,
big
let him finish his thought.
Otherwise, Bruce
Jeez,
Willis died from not.
Jesus Christ.
Somebody
I-
has to die.
I like Liv Tyler as well, and she was very pretty in that movie when I was 13, but you need to shut the fuck up right now.
At least it's going as well as I thought this podcast would go.
So,
I just want to write the soundtrack.
yo, I can't get no more olives out this jar.
Bro.
Who's got little hands?
Jesus Christ, Ron's
Oh.
probably got the smallest,
Got me
sweatiest
those
hands.
fires, you can try that.
Ooh, nice.
Anyway, you were
Hard
saying,
pass.
you were saying something about nukes and the
I
Armageddon
think that
scenario.
like you throw like fucking 13,000 nukes at some asteroid, yeah, you probably gonna fucking turn it into a lot of shotgun ammo, and like,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
and then it's this huge cloud of radioactive rocks. It's gonna come instead of just like taking out like the Horn of Africa, it's gonna take out Africa. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be real spread out now.
Well, and my counter argument to that is
You're
like
not
if we
gonna
hit it
wanna
far enough.
fish within like 10 miles of any
You're-
border of that
look.
area.
See, my
Look.
counter argument to that is that
It's
if you hit
gonna
it
be
far enough,
so bad.
is that if you hit it far enough away, like a bunch of the mass, the actual material that's involved in this thing is going to go around the planet. And
I
from,
mean,
well, hear me out.
you're
I'm not
basing this
finished
on a movie.
Well, no, hear me out. And I might be basing it on a movie, but the point that I'm trying to make is I think not a moot point in what I think is that you see a lot of the meteorites and asteroids that come through the asteroids stay in space, so they wouldn't actually land on the planet, but they all come through the atmosphere and you see them burn up. And so the idea behind what I'm personally thinking about is you'd hit it with a bunch of nukes, and yeah, you would have shotgun ammo all of a sudden shooting, rather than the slug at Earth where you've got this, series of pellets flying towards it. But a majority of those may or may not burn up in space.
Well, they're not going to burn up in space.
No, not in space, rather the atmosphere is what I meant. And so like,
Physics.
yeah, so we might like shotgun pepper the entire planet, but it might be more or less, what's the term I'm looking for? Damaging than it would be.
Like, obviously, this is all super hypothetical shit.
Yeah.
But
and none of us
I
are
think-
physicists.
No, I mean, no, none of us are. That's true. But I think that, like, we're not going to see this thing so far away because really something the size of Texas in the distance between us and Mars is like a fucking pebble on a beach.
Yeah.
We're not going to see this thing till it's real close. And so at best, we're going to create this gigantic radiation cloud in space that we keep fucking orbiting our planet through. You know what I mean? It's like, because the radiation weighs nothing, right? These particles don't, not the gamma ray, obviously.
Yeah.
That's just flying at whatever direction it was created at.
Yeah.
But the dusty radioactive
The actual
space
particles.
debris.
Yeah.
It's just every time we go by, it's just going to get pulled a little bit closer and a little bit more into, and eventually we'll just have this like foxtail of radioactive dust like in our orbit that our planet's always being inundated by.
You know what I just realized?
There's no good way to set off nuclear weapons within the gravity well of our planet and not suck radiation onto the surface of our planet, because it can't get into the core of the mantle of the fucking Earth where it does no damage to us.
Yeah.
Uranium fucking 2 miles underground doesn't affect me at all. But when uranium is falling from fucking outer space on literally everything,
Yeah.
that's gonna do bad shit to
We're
my
just
balls.
Agent Oranging the entire planet.
So what I want to figure out is how to get on that USO tour. I mean, you on a tour for some time?
I think he's talking about the band, but I don't
No,
know.
I'm talking about playing for the troops.
Okay, so you are talking about our band.
Merit Parcel stuff.
Plug.
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 Fourth Corner Productions. Merit Parcel's the band. Sean's
You
the
don't
man.
know, or
We
you're
call him
just
boss
joining
when
us.
we're on stage, but right now Lauren's the boss. So
This
like,
is
it's
the
weird. I got
podcast.
two bosses, and I'm
Fourth
smarter
Corner
than both of
Studio.
them.
And that ends our segment, Nerds, with Professor Sam and Loren O'Brien.
And as much fun as I'm having, I'm gonna go ahead and call this our first episode.
Bro, we covered some heavy shit.
We really did. And one thing I want to say before we end up closing out is that none of us are physicists. None of us know jack shit about space, except for Sam. He'll say to the contrary.
Bullshit. I know plenty about space. It's cold. There's a vacuum.
Yeah,
Your
that's not
balls
the
will
point that I'm
fucking expand
making.
if you're out
So
naked.
the point that I'm trying to make. I'm so frustrated right now.
I have done my job.
How many cubic feet per square inch
The
of vacuum
point-
does it take?
The point that I'm trying to make is if you've got any information, if you know more than we do, because we're just a bunch of babbling fucking idiots.
If you can send us a picture of your social security card, your mother's maiden name, and your college diploma proving that you're a physicist, please do.
We would love to hear from you. You probably won't hear from us because this is our first podcast. But if you're hearing this in the future,
You'll hear from somebody.
Please let us know if we said anything incorrect, which is probably a majority of the
If you would
things.
like to file a
we
lawsuit,
touched
please
on.
call.
Dude, honestly, if you have any complaints, our email address is hobojohnson@hotmail.com.
Yeah.
So this
And
is
on
also
that
our
note-
Hobo Johnson beef episode.
Yeah.
We're coming
Fuck
for
Hobo
you.
Johnson. That guy's a soy boy cuck.
Full circle! Oh!
And so today, I'd like to thank Kevin Porter from the podcast that nobody listens to. He had us on there a couple months ago when we were on tour. He was really kind of a big inspiration. For me wanting to do this. I want to thank Sam. I want to thank Sean. I want to thank Ron. All you guys for being here. Sean's actually gonna be my little sidekick, my little master of
My
ceremonies.
little doodly-doo.
My little doo-doo.
Co-host?
Well, co-host is tentative.
Oh, wow.
I want to say
Well,
wow.
that's on his part.
No, like
He decides how
sidekick, like,
involved he wants to be, right?
I'm gonna make a leather mask, and you guys aren't
They're
gonna
not
actually
gonna-
know who I am.
they're not
You're
gonna-
be like, that's
But our
Did
audience,
you know that Zorro means fox in Spanish?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of
also-
sidekicks.
also-
Tom.
I'm just that's
What's
a,
up?
That's a good.
Also,
thing.
Sean, it's useless for you to wear a mask on a podcast that we're not video recording.
I don't know that that's true because we can see him, and I think that would.
You think it's going to add mystique to the
Yeah, like
show?
a little bit of salt and pepper to the whole thing.
My identity is hidden.
Some paprika.
Your
up in
identity
there,
is
yeah.
hidden even though we're at your studio.
And your social security number is 162-42.
Somebody's going to get their identity
If you,
thieved.
no, if you were smart, you would have started with the right first three because that identifies the state you're from, and I'm from Washington.
Oh, cool.
Damn.
So if you heard that, you can calculate our...
Oh, just run that one and see if it works.
So
you know?
if you need the first three numbers to any one of our social security numbers, just listen to this podcast, listen to what state we're from, and then look up what the state reference number is, and you're a third of the way there.
I mean,
Still our identity. You,
know what?
won't.
Yeah.
And
Try it.
And as the read the
Ron Baca, his mom's name is super cute.
as the ringleader
That's
of
her
this
middle name,
shit
actually.
show
Yeah.
circus, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I cast my vote for the black sheep and the bad apple.
Yeah, black
The
sheep
bad
and
apples, I think, is
bad
better.
Apples.
But go
Black
ahead-
sheep and bad because sheep is plural.
Yeah.
You know.
The point that I'm getting to is this is the end of the podcast.
I like-
we don't have a title yet.
I like
I want
Guess
to thank
My
you guys for
Social.
listening to
Guess my
it.
social podcast.
I want you guys. I want to thank you guys
Guess
for
My
listening. If
Social,
you are
the
listening,
podcast.
if you've got an opinion, we'll say in the next checking my invisible watch month or so, we're gonna go ahead and decide on a final name. If we get a bunch of people who want to help us decide what the name is in the next week or so, I plan on doing this again next Wednesday. Every Wednesday for, I don't know, maybe 5 more. So stick around. Thank you guys for being here with us. We are at Fourth Corner Studios. I'm
Good to
Loren
meet
O'Brien.
y'all.
Thank you guys for being here. Have a good night.
I think my dog's got a priapism.